parasitic dopamine cycles and the myth of just one more time. So one thing that got me thinking about this recently is I was in the sauna talking to a guy, and he done something amazing. He lost 120 pounds in the past year and a half, and he was talking about how he cut out drinking, he cut out all this stuff, like started eating, like paying attention to what he ate, and he's talking about how he was only, I think his goal was to get down to 200 pounds, and he was almost there, and that meant that he might be able to have some beers this summer. And I was just like, why? Dude, like, the only time you want to drink is right after you've already had a drink. And this goes true for so many behaviors. The only time you really want to, like, at least for me personally, the only time I've ever wanted to smoke weed is like right after I smoked weed. Or the only time I've ever wanted to drink is after I've drunk. Because when you go a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months without it, you actually just start feeling really good. And then when you do these behaviors, like if I smoke weed right now, I'm going to feel foggy and not that good for the next 2 days. And I don't want to do that because I feel amazing. I don't want to drink because I feel good. And that's how a lot of this goes. It's like this for, I experienced this for cutting out like baked goods. Like, I don't know if this is the sugar or the gluten or the mix of the two, but like baked goods with flour, they don't make me feel that good. And the only time I really want to eat them is right after I just ate them, because what that means is I know after I ate that, I'm not going to feel that good the next day. So what's one more really going to do? Like, I'm not going to feel that much worse. So it's this cycle of kind of kicking the can down the road and allowing yourself to, like, it's chasing short-term dopamine, because you know once you stop chasing the short-term dopamine, then you got a period of time where you're not going to feel as great, and then you're going to start feeling better and better and better. This is similar to like quitting smoking. Right after you quit smoking, like if you're using the willpower method, you're not going to feel that great because you're going to be craving and everything. But the farther you go down the road, you're like, oh crap, I feel good. My lungs feel good. Like my brain feels better. I'm a lot more even. And you're not going to want to smoke. The main time you want to smoke is right after you just had a cigarette. The main time, I mean, I've noticed this trend also for basically like doom scrolling. Like, you ever try stopping and doom scroll? Right after you stop, you just want to get back on and scroll again, because your brain's like, it feels kind of burnt out, and you're like, well, I could go back to doom scrolling, and then at least I have some dopamine coming in, and I can hide from this feeling of not feeling that great. And that's what this behavior is, and that's what I've noticed so many things fall into. I think it helps once you see the pattern, once you know that once you see it for putting off the inevitable, or at least the continual cycle of kicking the can down the road, which for many people leads to them never actually being free of it and feeling as good as they could, because they're always chasing the short-term dopamine they get from doing destructive activities, or at least not ideal activities, because it allows them to get dopamine because they're not in necessarily the best mental state or peak metabolism or the peak of their health. And it means that, like, once you stop doing this, like, you can keep your dopamine pretty level by eating crappy food all the time, and you're just gonna be at a pretty level state. But once you stop, it's gonna dip down a little bit, and then once it's gonna start building up, and it's gonna way surpass the point where you were at beforehand. But many people fear the dip so much that they continue doing the behaviors, and they worry that when they're in that little dip, that it's never gonna go away, and that they need their little crux, they need their little friend, they need whatever the hell they want to call it. They need the dopamine fix in order to feel happy because they don't, I don't know. It's kind of like you lose faith that like, it becomes your new normal. So when you dip from it, you're like, how could there be anything higher than normal? Like if you're just at this regular state for a long time and you dip, you're like, now I feel worse, and I feel worse because I stopped doing this thing. Therefore, if I continue doing this thing, I'll feel better. But it's like, no. You feel a lot worse than you used to. It's a slow decline down to the point where you're at. It's like for most people, when they're like, I have trouble eating clean or sticking to a diet or doing something, I just don't, for me personally, I found eating clean, like just obsessing about it, being hyper conscious of it, eating clean for 1 month. I mean, ideally more, but at least 1 month. And once I did that, I found it very difficult to ever go back because I noticed how crappy I felt. And I was telling this to my doctor, or at least the nurse practitioner I was seeing, and she's like, yeah, and it goes on to talk about how she buys her kids McDonald's occasionally. I'm like, yeah, I just can't eat that. Like, once you eat clean for a while, and then you have that food, like, because when you eat clean, you get up like to the high dopamine, high energy states, especially if you have good body awareness, which I don't know, a lot of people lack. Like a lot of people lack body awareness, and therefore they're not as conscious of these decisions or how they feel, but they just start noticing that they are feeling off. But I mean, if you have high body awareness, then you notice right after, it's a complete thing. Like right after you eat that crappy meal, you're gonna feel like crap. And I was trying to explain this to one of my friends, and he's like, not getting it. He's like talking about eating fast food. I'm like, dude, I can't eat that stuff. Like I haven't had fast food 15 years. Like I can't eat that because I feel like crap afterwards. And he goes on to try to tell me how that's probably just because I think the food is bad. And I'm like, no, like the food is bad, but I'm not placeboing myself into feeling like crap for the next 2 days because I had that food. Like there's food I will eat and I will feel bad afterwards. Like this one burrito place I like, where I'll go there, I'll get a rice bowl, so it's like, it's all clean stuff, at least I thought so, and then I felt off the next day, and I was like, calling them up on my phone, like, what do you guys use for your oils? Like, what do you cook everything in? And they're like, oh, we use vegetable oil. I'm like, that's it right there. That's why I feel off right now, because it's a similar feeling. I expected them to say vegetable oil. My brother has the same thing, but like once you eat clean, and I mean going carnivore especially helps with this because you're eating the same thing day after day after day, and you really get to like become aware of how you normally feel, how you feel without spiking your blood glucose, your blood sugar up and down throughout the day based off your meals. So you just feel like flat constant. It's a really nice flat constant that you feel. But the moment you vary from that, whether it's positive or negative, you feel it a lot. And it's nice, but it can also be detrimental when you travel and you can't necessarily, I mean, in my feeling, it turns you into a hypersensitive little bitch doing it like that, like prolonged carnivore for like a year or two. And yeah, like ideally you could always eat clean and always feel great, but the one downside to doing carnivore like that for that long is just if you travel and you can't eat clean, if you can't get the food that you actually want to get, then you feel it more. Like you're more aware of the ups and the downs. So you'll be very aware that you don't feel as good. And then that awareness that you don't feel as good, kind of, that actually does have a slight placebo effect, because I'll notice I can do the opposite and have it actually work well for me. And for that, what I mean is I'll sometimes take, hell, my caffeine dosage right now is 20 milligrams. But like, because I took the 20 milligrams, I kind of expect to be more focused, which helps me be more focused. And that's similar to with like when you eat bad food or when you do carnivore, you have to do it for a while before you can actually get to this level of sensitivity where you feel it to this much of a degree. But you do feel worse, and then because you feel worse, you just like, you embody the feeling more, just because you're deviating, like you're so neutral for so long that any deviation from that feels like really huge. But besides that, just eating clean, eating normal, it's great. Like I am actually going to Asia this month for a friend's wedding, but I am really hoping I don't get like typhoid or some other disease while there. But anyways, yeah, look out for this in your own life. Look out for, notice like when you consume TV, when you consume Instagram, overconsume, not just, if you got moderation, man, then like good for you. But like, even if you have moderation, like after you've consumed it, notice the urges or the desire to consume it. Is it stronger right after you've done it? Like, do you have a stronger desire to go watch TV right after you finish an episode and you don't really want to get up, so you put the next one on, and then you put the next one on, and then you spent the whole weekend watching TV, well, maybe your whole Saturday watching TV, and then the next day you're like, oh, I could finish that show up, and then the desire's there, and it kind of builds like this to the point where you're like, there's a phenomenon I remember reading about in a book talking about computer algorithms, and it was talking about the optimal way to organize your files, and it found that organizing them in by the last file you used, or the last web page you looked at, the last thing you did, is the most likely thing for you to look at next. And I'm sure there's a word for this, but it's basically just saying how when you're thinking something, you're most likely to continue thinking that something. When you're using something, you're most likely to continue using that thing. And the longer you go without using it, the less likely you are to want to use it. And I think it's like 98 or 97%, if you sort your computer files this way for caching, and this is solely talking about caching on computers, you get to like 98% of the optimal, like if you're omniscient, just by holding on to the cache like this. Anyways, the book I'm talking about is Algorithms to Live By, I think it's the name. It's a great book, good read, very nerdy, and goes into game theory, which I like. But anyways, peace out.